Welcome back to the channel where we dive into the hottest K-pop news. And wow, today we have something huge to talk about. Stray Kids are back. And honestly, this comeback feels different. It feels powerful. After almost a year on an epic world tour, they're returning with a brand new album called Karma. And let me tell you, this is not just any album. This is a statement. So let's start with the basics. Karma is Stray Kids' fourth full-length album, and it comes after 11 months of traveling the world, meeting stays everywhere, and dominating stadiums. The title alone, Karma, makes me think of destiny, fate, and everything coming full circle. And guess what? That's exactly what the boys said. Changbin explained that this album represents their achievements, their efforts, and the positive karma they've built with Stay over the years. That right there gave me goosebumps, because you can really feel how personal this album is for them. Now here's the part that really hits me. SKZ is celebrating their 8th anniversary this year. 8 years. In K-pop time, that's like a lifetime. So many groups lose their spark over time. But these guys, they said they haven't lost their original intentions. In fact, they said, and I quote, "We're crazy about music and the stage." And honestly, if you've seen them live, you know that's true. Their energy is insane. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The members shared that each of them is still working hard to develop in their own positions while pushing toward a common goal. That's teamwork on another level. Sungmin even compared it to sports, like baseball or a relay race, where everyone plays a different role, but the goal is the same: victory. I love that analogy because it really paints a picture of how SKZ sees themselves, and it makes me think about the title track, Ceremony. Speaking of ceremony, let's talk about it. This song isn't just a title track. It's basically a victory anthem. It's about celebrating yourself after a long, passionate journey. If you think about it, it's the perfect theme for a group that just wrapped up a 54-show world tour across 34 countries. Like, that's huge. How many artists can say they've done that? And not just that, they did it in stadiums. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London? That's legendary. Now, before we get into the deeper meaning of the songs, let me ask you this. What do you think about the title Karma? Do you believe in karma? Like, do you think all the hard work, the sleepless nights, and the struggles come back as rewards in the end? Personally, I do. I feel like SKZ is living proof of that right now. They went from facing doubts and negative comments early on to breaking records on the Billboard 200. 6 consecutive #1 albums in the US. That's not just success, that's history. And speaking of history, let's take a second to appreciate 3 Racha, Banjeon, Changbin, and Han. Because these guys produced all 11 tracks on this album. Yes, all of them. If you've been following Stray Kids from the beginning, you know they've always been involved in their music. But this time, it sounds like they really pushed themselves. Banjeon even said they explored genres they hadn't tried before. That's bold, especially when you're already at the top. They could have played it safe, but no, they wanted to experiment, to grow. And honestly, I respect that so much. You know what else I love? The behind-the-scenes details. Apparently, while on tour, the members were so determined to keep working on the album that they literally recorded in hotel rooms. Han said it was probably noisy because the others were trying to sleep, but they didn't stop. That kind of dedication is crazy. Like, can you imagine traveling across countries, performing in front of tens of thousands of people, and then going back to your hotel and recording until who knows what time? That's passion. And it makes me wonder, do you think that's what separates Stray Kids from the rest? Like their insane work ethic? Or is it their teamwork? Or maybe their connection with Stay? For me, it's a combination of all 3. They're not just making music. They're building an empire based on authenticity and grind. But let's circle back to the music for a second. The album has 11 tracks, including Bbicheori, Creed, Meongmang, and a fan song. And yes, there's even a festival version of the title track. I'm curious, which track are you most excited about? Because for me, Ceremony is already giving me chills just from the description. The idea of a song that celebrates everything they've overcome, that's going to hit so hard, especially if you've been with them since the early days. Also, Can we talk about Hyunjin for a second? He said he knew Ceremony was his song the moment he heard it. That confidence, wow. And honestly, you can feel it every time he performs. And not just that, Hyunjin and Lee Know helped create the choreography for the title track. So not only are they delivering vocally, but they're shaping the performance as well. That's what I mean when I say SKZ is on another level. Now, before I keep going, I want to hear from you. Do you think this comeback is going to be Stray Kids' best era yet? Or do you still think something like Thunderous or God's Menu is unbeatable? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I'm really curious how everyone feels about this. For me, based on everything we're hearing, this comeback might just top everything they've done so far. Alright, so let's dive deeper into what makes this album so fascinating. Stray Kids said they wanted Karma to show their philosophy and growth narrative. And you know what? That makes so much sense when you think about everything they've been through in 8 years. From being called a self-producing group to being one of the biggest K-pop acts globally, their story is literally about carving their own path despite all the doubts and noise around them. Changebin even admitted that in the early days, he questioned if they could really make music like this. He saw negative comments and wondered if they were on the right track. Can you imagine the pressure of that? But instead of changing to fit expectations, they doubled down on being themselves. And now look, Billboard history makers, multiple daesangs, and sold-out stadium tours. That's the kind of story that makes you root for them even harder. But here's something that really stood out to me. Han said there were times he thought, is this the right music for us? And yet, they kept going because Stay believed in them. That gave me chills. It shows that this relationship between SKZ and Stay isn't just fan and artist, it's a partnership. They feed off each other's energy. When one side doubts, the other side lifts them up. That's rare. And speaking of lifting up, let's talk about the symbolism of the album name again, Karma. To me, this isn't just about good karma for SKZ. It's also a message for fans. What you put out into the world comes back to you. If you've been with SKZ through the struggles, this album feels like a reward for your loyalty. And honestly, that makes me emotional because so many fans grow with their idols. It's like we're all on this journey together. Now, let's get into the title track vibe a little bit more. Sungmin compared the members' growth to athletes training for their positions. And when you listen to Ceremony, it's going to feel like the final victory lap. Can you imagine the choreography for this? I'm picturing something powerful, energetic, almost like a stadium chant. And since Hyunjin and Lee Know helped with the choreo, you know it's going to be visually insane. Here's something else I'm curious about. SKZ said they tried genres they haven't done before. What do you think that means? Could we get some EDM festival vibes? Maybe something more rock influenced like Top Line? Or even something jazzy like Red Lights, but with a twist? If you had to guess, what genre do you want them to try? Personally, I'd love a cinematic track with orchestral elements because that would suit the whole celebratory yet powerful vibe of this album. And can we take a second to appreciate how hard they worked on this while touring? Like, seriously, they were performing in stadiums and still finding time to record in hotel rooms. That's the kind of grind you don't see often. It's not just about dropping an album, it's about giving fans the best quality even when their schedule is insane. That kind of dedication is why they're where they are now. I also love how humble they are about success. Hyunjin said records are important, but what matters more is enjoying the music and going crazy over their art. And Bangchan echoed that by saying their biggest goal is longevity, not just topping charts. That's refreshing to hear, especially in an industry that can be so focused on numbers. SKZ cares about creating something meaningful that lasts, and I think that's why fans connect with them so deeply. Now, let me throw a question to you. Do you think Stray Kids is the most influential fourth-gen group right now? Because personally, I feel like they're redefining what it means to be self-producing idols. 6 consecutive Billboard 200 #1s, a world tour with stadium stops, experimental music, and full creative control. That's wild. But I want to hear your thoughts. Are they leading 4th gen, or do you think it's more balanced among groups? Comment below, because this is going to be an interesting discussion. Before we wrap up, let's reflect on something Han said. We started out as a small branch, but now we've grown into a deep-rooted tree. That visual is beautiful, and it perfectly describes SKZ's journey. From survival show trainees to global icons, they've weathered storms, faced criticism, and still stayed true to themselves. And now with Karma, they're not just celebrating, they're cementing their legacy. So, here's my final question for you. What does Stray Kids mean to you personally? Is it their music, their energy, their message, or all of the above? Share your stories in the comments because I know a lot of stays have incredible journeys with this group, and I'd love to read them. All right, that's it for today's deep dive into Stray Kids' comeback with Karma. If you enjoyed this discussion and you're as excited as I am, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more K-pop content. And hey, don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss the latest buzz. Until next time, this is AnnyeongBuzz signing off. Stay safe, stay happy, and as always, stay tuned for more.